Hi, this is e-patient Dave DeBronkard. I'm at a somewhat noisy party the last night of TEDMed, and I'm with Ben Goldacre, who gave a great talk today about the missing data in clinical trials. What was the example you had about 38 positive trials and 37 negative, or 36 negative?
On antidepressants, a survey was done on all of the trials that were ever submitted to the FDA for regulatory approval of drugs, and they found that there were 38 positive trials and 36 negative trials in the FDA archives, but when they looked at the published academic papers, only 3 negative trials and 37 positive trials. So you can see that's the same kind of picture that you get in all academic research in all fields of medicine, which is that only about half of the trials that are conducted are published and made available to doctors and patients to make decisions about whether a treatment is going to be effective for them. But also, positive trials are about twice as likely, on average, in all fields of medicine, to be published as negative trials.
So, and you're going to be creating a new website where people can find out about the missing data for their particular condition?
Yes. So we're starting a website at alltrials.org, and our objective is to collect together the best possible data that we can on all of the trials that have been conducted and completed, and then looking to see whether they've been published and made available or whether the results have been essentially withheld from doctors and patients. And I'm hoping that patients will want to be involved in this, specifically because, I guess in some respects for me as a doctor and an academic, missing data is an academic problem. But for somebody who is suffering with a specific medical condition or even taking a specific drug, if I can tell you that 2,400 patients have been randomized into trials on one particular drug, but only 1,400 patients worth of data has been reported, so 1,000 patients worth of data is still currently being withheld, then it seems to me if I was a patient on that drug, I would be saying, well, why aren't you giving me that data? I want that data.
Or if I were a physician prescribing the drug.
Yeah, absolutely.
How on earth is anybody supposed to make the right medical decisions if part of the information has it? The example you used of the coin toss was brilliant, right?
Yeah, so if half of all the trials that are conducted and completed are never published, right, then that means that what we have is a very biased sample of the trial results. And so the example I gave earlier is if I tossed a coin 100 times and I only told you about the answers for half of those coin tosses, I could make it look as if I had a coin that always came up heads. But that doesn't mean I really do have a two-headed coin. It means that I'm a chancer trying to get one over on you and you're an idiot for letting me get away with it. But we let drug companies and researchers get away with only publishing half of their data, and that's an insane situation. And actually, the reason that I sought you out at this meeting today is I feel actually quite strongly that the medical and academic community have failed patients and let them down by not recognizing this as a problem and by not making a fuss, because missing data is the cancer at the core of evidence-based medicine. It makes a mockery. We cannot possibly know the true risks and benefits of the treatments that we're prescribing if half of the trial data is withheld. So actually, my main reason for hoping that we can involve patients in advocating for the release of the trial data on the drugs that they're taking is that nobody else cares, and I think it's patients who will care more than anyone else.
Well, and the thing that you mentioned, I was in a clinical trial myself, and the thing that really moved me at the end was not reporting all the data is a real disservice to the patients who agreed to be at risk by participating in a trial. So
I absolutely agree. It's unethical to not report the results of trials for 2 reasons. One is, if you don't report the results, then that leads to biased over-exaggerations of the benefits of treatment.
Yep.
But it also breaks the implicit contract between the trial participant and the researcher, which is...
And the researcher, very good point.
I'm giving up my time, and also I may even be taking a risk personally with my own health. in order to produce new evidence that will help other patients in a similar position to me in the future. And if you don't publish the results, then that implicit understanding is broken. And actually, often it's an explicit relationship, because often the consent form will specifically say, you're participating in this trial so that we can inform future treatment decisions.
Great.
And that requires that the results are published. And if the researcher then has a different contract with the industry sponsor of the trial, which says that the industry sponsor is allowed to have control over whether the results are being published or not, then that contract conflicts with the contract that they're signing with their participants, and that is a very dishonest thing to do, I think.
So here's hoping that first of all, that we'll get to use this website, and the patients everywhere will speak up and contribute their own experiences and use the information. So this is Ben Goldacre, gave a great talk at TEDMed today called The Missing Data.
I don't know what it was called, the tip of the missing data iceberg.
Oh yes, that's right. That's great. So thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks.